The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast.
They call it Sin City for a reason. There's a lot that can happen, and a lot is on the line tonight here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. They always say what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, but that won't be the case. It'll transfer through into the next couple of rounds as we close out Season 7 of the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series. Welcome to round 3 of 5 in the playoffs. Hunter Sleppy joined by Corey Silva in the PTR TV booth tonight as we're kicking off the second round for the Pro Series playoffs. And last week we eliminated 4 drivers. Today we have 8, and one of those 8 are looking to lock themselves in for a championship spot come 3 weeks' time at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Exactly that, Hunter. Good job on the intro, because I botched Tuesdays royally. Figured I'd give it to you here today. But yes, 1.5 miles, which these intermediates are pretty much the bread and butter of the playoffs this time around there, Hunter. I mean, this season we have here. Then we're going to be heading to Auto Club. I guess you could vaguely throw that in the intermediate pile. And then, of course, we'll be going to the Charlotte Motor Speedway for the championship. So for a driver to clinch here or have a good run here, that surely would boost the confidence level for that championship round.
And the driver who, in my eyes, probably has the best odds of doing that tonight would be James Skyley. And I say that because in our last 3 trips to this 1.5 mile tri-oval, my cat is eagerly waiting to get in my room. I can hear him now, but James Skyley has won the last 3 times we've been here. Seasons 3, 4, and 5, he's dominated 2 of the 3. He took the lead with 16 laps to go in our most recent race here at Las Vegas in Season 5. I'm going to go let my cat in, but that's going to be my guy to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, and of course, who else that would be one to keep an eye on? How can you argue with the number 24 of Sebastian Marin? I believe I'll be stat checked to this, but 5 wins on the season for Sebastian, and he actually did win on Tuesday night, made a cameo appearance in the Truck Series on Tuesday, and managed to put it in victory lane, so he would love to do the weekend sweep and get that free pass. But just to give a privy to the point standings here and what we are playing with coming in, of course, round of 4, well, 4 drivers will carry over to the championship round, and you can see the cut line is right there. We have Zach Nichols, 38, Jeff Wright, only a couple points back, as is Beckner, and Opplinger and Stewart not out of realm there, only about 10 points behind. So Sebastian Marin has the bubble to play with here today, but just because you have a bubble doesn't mean you can afford a bad run. As Hunter still dealing with the feline issues over there, but who is that? I think that was Bryce Senesac, perhaps. Someone on the front straightaway having some issues there, but either way, they will get sorted, and the end of practice is coming to us here, so this will allow us to go and start and see who will have the best of runs. But I want to thank everyone for tuning in here to PTR TV. If it's your first time, don't make it your last. Hit the like and subscribe button. Looking for 1,800 subscribers on YouTube, and if you can help us with that, we would highly appreciate it. And of course, if you're watching on Twitch, you can like and subscribe on Twitch. You can spend $5 a month, get your custom emotes, earn double points, and you can redeem those double points for some free merch. So consider, if you're watching on the Twitch spectrum, of helping the league out in that capacity. But now 1 hot lap to set things through here, Hunter, and luckily for the drivers, no go or go homeless here today. Everybody will take time.
Yeah, everybody's going to make this show, and it all depends on when they start, although we do have some guys with EOLs. From what I can see, none are playoff contenders, so that's good for well, not really good for the field because they want to win, but good for the fans that want to watch their favorites contend up front. Looking through, there's not too many guys that have starts here. Scioli, Jake Nichols, and Travis Beckner are the only ones that have made Pro Series starts at this track. Mentioned 3 wins for Scioli. Jake Nichols finished 5th in Season 5. Travis Beckner's got 2 top 10s and the best finish of 3rd, also in Season 5 at this track. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as the night rolls on. And we'll have to keep an eye on this guy who is looking to continue to dominate this season and clinch his spot into the Championship 4. He's only got 5 wins on the season. I say only because his last win came at Dover, but since then we've had a different winner in 4 of the last 5 races. Actually, no, we've had a different winner. They go all the way back to Chicagoland. So I'm looking, that is six of words are tough. Our last 6 Pro Series events, we've had different winners in.
Yeah, just leave it there at that. Let's not make our verbiage too difficult here. Surprising to see Sebastian Marin be one of the first drivers out in qualifying. Usually he's one of the last-second Larrys, as I like to call them there, but he will top of the board there over Philip Groner. Let's take a look at who else is going to be on the circuit right now. We got Jonathan Evans still looking for a sponsor. Kind of running joke with him for missing all 3 of the transfers in the playoffs. He'll qualify with a 51. That'll put him P4 at present. That's
why the 0 for 3 is on the hood of the car. Unfortunate there. Garrett Grant going to be 8th. He was 7th, but Opplinger just jumped up to P6 on the board. John Furness going to jump up as well. Nate Stewart, got to keep an eye on him, a playoff contender. Furness, 4th quick. Yeah, John Furness going to be P4. We got Jake Nichols. He's on his out lap right now. Looks like, from my back end, looks like Justin Opplinger, if he's on, no, he's only on lap 1. We only got 1 lap here. So who else do we got? We got Jake Nichols. He'll be running through pretty quickly here. And obviously has, 1 win on the season, Hunter? So would like to have a little bit more playoff points and a little bit more confidence heading into Charlotte. Let's see what he can muster. Yeah, that win came at Bristol a couple weeks ago. His teammate James Scioli got his first win of the season back at Kansas, our most recent mile and a half, as the 73 jumps up to 3rd on the board. P3 for him. Justin Opplinger back in the old school car that he hasn't run in quite some time. And he'll go P7 in that ride. Who else do we got on track? Most of these drivers have already run. John Forbes, freshly removed from the playoffs, and he is slideways sawing at that wheel off turn 4. Yeah, unfortunate end to him. Just did not have. He had a great regular season, but the last 2 races did not go well for him. He's going to be 14th. Casey Licata's 18th. Still waiting for Zach Nichols to put a time down. Bryce Senesac looking to have a solid week again. He had a decent outing last time at Nashville Super Speedway. Looking to continue that pace here in Sin City. He'll come across the stripe in 15th. Who else do we got? Michael Venable is parked. And so far, well, he's going to start pulling out now. So we're at that time now where you're going to have to muster it around. Actually, pure mathematics. I don't even think he's going to get a lap off, Hunter. He's just leaving the pits with 50 seconds. I don't even think he's going to get a lap off. No, he is not. Because you got to be at the line within 30 seconds in order to at least start a time. But it's not going to be enough to put a time down, so he'll just run a quick warm-up. He'll maybe get through 1 and 2, and then it might cut him out of the sim. Yeah, of course, you go back to the days of group qualifying in NASCAR, the famous run at Auto Club Speedway. Final round when they did that last 10, finishers got to be out all at the same time, and nobody turned a time because they all tried waiting too late, and then he is just going to go Tokyo Drift Fast and the Furious maneuvering here. Obviously realizes that he isn't not going to qualify through, but Sebastian Marin will get that pole, and he will enjoy that as we'll count down and have a couple minutes of warm-up perhaps before we start today's, I believe, 130 lapper off here at Vegas. Yep, 130 laps for a mile and a half, and this is really the cream of the crop for area as we're closing in on the end of Season 7. Not only for the Pro Series, but the trucks and the Cup side of things as well. They're all going through the same races in the playoffs. Actually, I believe the last 10? No. I want to say the last 7 the last 7 weeks of area, it's been the same tracks for each series. Kansas, Coda, Talladega, and then the playoffs are all the same with Bristol, Nashville, and then this is the really good one. Las Vegas, always exciting. Auto Club, always thrilling to have close finishes or chaotic finishes at that Speedway, RIP. And then Charlotte Motor Speedway, which always puts on the show. Couldn't think of a better way to cap off the season. But it all starts here if you want to have a shot at the championship.
Of course, for us who are very superficial and like looking at pretty things, Las Vegas did undergo a round 2 graphical update via iRacing. So this track up to date with its yellow walls and looks super good here. And of course, that makes me as a broadcast producer a very happy individual here. Mason Kane on track into the fence. Mason's still in the Truck Series playoffs. And not so much here in the Florida Estate Builders Pro Series, but he'll have some fun here. Talked about Zach Nichols. He's right on that cut line, has, I think it was 5 to 7 points, something in that ballpark, over 5th place. So he can't afford a bad run, but he's also someone that can very easily sneak a win out of here.
Oh, yeah, it's possible. You're just going to have to maneuver through traffic good. Looking through our past here, we don't really have too many yellows. Season 5 was our latest for a yellow. It was around 13 to go. We went caution-free back in Season 2. Usually we only get, like I said, 1 yellow, and it comes around with 85 laps left in the event. And really, if you're starting inside the first 2 rows, you got a pretty good chance at winning. Mentioned Sebastian Marin's on the pole. Seasons 2 and 4 were 1 from the pole. Seasons 3 and 5 from 2nd, and then Season 1 from 3rd. So track position is going to be very key as well.
Track position will be very key, and if, as you said, not a lot of cautions to be had here at Vegas here in the area, and that opens the door for strategy. Did see a significant amount of tire fall off on Tuesday night, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on which side of the spectrum you're on. That did kill the strategy and kind of set everybody up to be on the same strategy. Everyone kind of had the same ability to go full bore, but we very easily could have a tire strat / fuel mileage race on our hands tonight.
Well, could be. I know Monday tire wear wasn't too much of a factor. It was all about fuel, and then the later we got, the more yellows came out, and then that kind of threw everything out the window. But you're going to want to minimize mistakes on pit road, and especially on the racetrack as well. You don't want to get caught up in someone else's mess, especially if you're a playoff driver looking to find your way into Charlotte as a championship contender.
I don't know, last week I was not able to attend just due to some storms coming through my area, which a lot of people are undergoing that in the real world now, namely down in Texas. So if you are going through storms, hope the best for you and anybody who's been affected. But I wasn't able to attend last week, and I know, Hunter, last week at Nashville, things actually went flag to flag there. So these guys see if they can continue that green flag hot streak here, as it looks like we're going to run this whole warm-up session through.
Any extra time that these guys can get to prepare on the racetrack, where they can let off and where they can roll, whether it can be the middle, the bottom, or the top, because this is a multi-groove surface. You can really run anywhere on this track. It's progressively banked, so it's going to help out. 20 through the turns, and then about 9 through both straightaways. The backstretch is slanted. Tri-oval is going to be very key. We're going to see some runs get blocked coming out of 4. Not a whole lot of off-throttle point, but I think tonight we should see more tire wear than Monday. Monday, tire wear really wasn't a thing. There's only about a second or so of fall off, but with Xfinity car, you usually see more fall off. So I would expect to see after 20-25 laps, some guys start to taper off about a second or a second and a half.
Yeah, I think that's right in line, about a second and a half, almost 2 seconds we saw in the Truck Series, and we never got a full fuel stint there. And hopefully some of these drivers practice their green flag stops, because here at Vegas, it is rather difficult to peel that thing through. And down to the left there is Marin and Nichols right on cue. It's almost like they're listening to us. But either way, that will conclude our warm-up here. So Of course, we will head down trackside for our starting lineup, and as usual, our starting lineup brought to you by Central Mobile Homes. If you're looking for a small or large home, new shed, or Triple Crown trailer, look no further than Central Mobile Homes, proudly serving Florida customers for 29 years with a plethora of small and large home floor plans, shed designs, and Triple Crown trailers. Available in LaBelle, Okeechobee, Clewiston, and Sebring. Head to centralmobilehomeinc.com for more information. Link in the description. But how about we start things off here today, Hunter, with our Central Mobile Homes starting lineup.
Front row, you're going to find two playoff drivers, Sebastian Marin on pole, James Scioli in second. Row 2, it's going to be Jake Nichols and Philip Groner. And then row 3, John Furness starting 5th, Jonathan Evans starting 6th. A couple of Johns there. And then the Jays continue in row 4, Justana Sogak 7th, Jeremy Miller 8th. And then in row 5, Justin Opplinger 9th and Mason Kane 10th.
That concludes our top 10. Just heading outside that, Nate Stewart at 11th and Jeff Wright in 12th. That is a playoff row number 6. Brody Falliker in 13th. John Forbes out of Orange, California in 14th. Bryce Senesac will be rolling off in 15th. And Garrett Grant, he's been doing better here as the season progresses. He'll be rolling off in 16th. 17th, we'll find Ed Robertson with Justin Bolton. I believe he is on the EOL list, if I'm not mistaken, in 18th. 19th and 20th, Casey Lakatos, and then Ben Pierce in the number 65 for Powerhouse.
Then 21st, we'll find Braxton DeWeese. 22nd, Ryan Nowicki. 23rd, it's going to be Alan Fox, and Zach Nichols is going to start from deep in the field in 24th. 25th, we'll find Michael Venable. 26th, Matt Kemp. 27th, David Weiss. Our 28th, Brad Slar. And then it says 30th on here, but 29th, I think, will be Joseph Berg.
Yeah, we have a ghost fictitious alien driver who has taken their part here to Sin City, throwing off our starting lineup and our information. Our race details here, sponsored by, we don't have a sponsor for this segment. We will have 130 laps here, which wasn't privy to any exact numbers in terms of the mileage, the fuel, and all that fun stuff, but we'll estimate around 60 laps probably is a good number on fuel. Tires, you'll want them before that. Of course, fixed setups and no stages, so this has potential to be a flag-to-flag race, but it's at 130 laps. One stopper could be possible, but might be a little bit of a stretch.
Some guys were trying that on Monday and didn't really work out too well because the yellows kind of came out and thwarted their plan, but we'll see if tonight has anything different.
See, indeed the case here. Let's take a look at the weather and 3 p.m. sim time. So this will be a late afternoon race. Probably take us to about 5 o'clock virtual time. So that track temp 90 degrees with the air temp 79. Expect it to remain the same, maybe go down a skosh, or it could go up a skosh here with the track usage with these drivers ripping around at about 190 miles per hour. So that is what we got here, and we should have 2 pace laps. And just as a reminder, this is our list: Philip Groner, Okrezik, Smith, Whaleman, Bolton, Brown, Batby, Slate, and Sheen. Of course, not all those drivers here, but if they are here, they're starting from arrears.
Yeah, it's going to make for a thrilling race for the fans that are watching at home, and for us up in the booth, just seeing guys try to work their way from the back to the front. It's going to be a little less challenging, not a full field, so we're at 29, maybe 30 if someone joins right now, but I doubt that happens. But nonetheless, it's still going to be a pretty entertaining night.
Now, of course, it always is here in the area. You never know what kind of race it's going to be. Whether it is a race like last week, as I had mentioned, that went flag to flag and it's complete strategy fest, or are we going to have some tempers in, not to bring it up too much, but let's just say tempers were ablazing there at the end of Tuesday night's Truck Series race. So even though we are going fast, people can still not be too happy at the end of things. But who is going to punch their ticket? I know you put your bets on James Scioli. I got to go with the obvious pick and go for the Tuesday, Thursday sweep with Sebastian Marin. But if you're watching live, let us know, interact with us, let us know who you are going with, because there is a lot of good choices outside of the two that we have chosen.
Oh yeah, there's still some names in there that catch my eye. Jake Nichols, he had a pretty solid night on Monday. he could even be a non-playoff guy. I mean, the first 2 races of the Area Cup playoffs, it was swept by Kwame Scott. We didn't get a playoff winner until Monday with John Hall. So if you're looking at Philip Groner, John Furness, even Jonathan Evans, maybe a little revenge race after missing all 3 playoffs. We'll see him there in the 26. He's got a pretty good starting spot.
He's got a pretty good view to the start of today's race. Sin City, Florida Estate Builders Pro Series here for area. Let's do our round of 8 and let's see who can punch their ticket and get themselves championship eligible. Coming through turn number 4 into the Echo Park restart zone. Barney has the flag, and let's get on the loud pedal. Let's go racing from Vegas. Already 3 wide, and are we already wrecking? Answer is yes, we are. Zach Nichols, see the 44 in there as well, so hopefully no damage. Never mind that. He's going to be winner in next week. You can see that terminal smoke from that number 44 already.
That is crazy. I don't even know how that happened.
Well, neither do I, but luckily we have the technology, so let's go on our Hendry County replay. Something happened up front, and there was a stack up front in the realm of Jeff Wright. Let's go top down here. There was a stack up there, and then when it got to Nick, yeah, there's that stack up, check up, check up, check up, and then the 51 just got into the 44, and then after that, people just did not have room to evade.
Just like that, through the field, caught up in the big one.
Yeah, so that will, as we were talking about earlier, in terminal damage there. We'll bring up the point standings one more time for you, so that way you can see why this is such a big implication for that 44. He only had 2 points to Jeff Wright. So now he's going to be down there probably straight in 8th after this, depending how much happens to everybody else. So he's basically going to be a win or nothing at Auto Club.
There's reports of Evans probably missing a shift on that initial start, causing the huge stack up.
Missed shift there, which I do know, because so Hunter, I told you, I did a race last night. You believe that? I actually dusted off my steering wheel and tried to do what these drivers do. And I'm not too sure about how the gearing is here, but what I do know is I drove the ARCA car at Atlanta, which I know they have a plate on it. But there was, the fire-off speed was right on the cusp of, do you want to go in first? Because you're a little bit too high for first gear, but you're a little bit too low for second gear. And I know some drivers, if you guess that one wrong, that could easily cause some issues.
Yeah, it's just terrible for it to happen at the initial start of the race, but it's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. As looking through, I think there's there's 5 guys that are currently in the pits or done. That's Matt Kemp, David Weishart, Zach Nichols, Joseph Berg, Brad Slaughter. So already we're down to possibly 24 drivers in this field.
Yep, David Weishart has already taken it behind the wall, and I've talked about Weishart a few times over the multiple broadcasts that we do. And I don't know about his Monday likelihoods, but I know if he didn't have luck, he wouldn't have any. If he didn't have bad luck, he wouldn't have any luck at all. It just seems like he just cannot catch a break, and I've seen the frustration come from him on social media and in the area Discords. Just like, come on, guys, I want to get some good racing, and I can't get some good luck. So he's already taken it behind the wall. But this also goes to the strategy sense, Hunter, because now that we have a smaller field, it kind of increases the odds that this thing could be a green flag race. And the drivers, it'd behoove of them to kind of strategize their race around that. Yeah,
I mean, this does throw a little monkey wrench into things where we're not totally green to the end, if we do go green to the end. But these guys can save fuel, and that could push them to possibly doing a 1-stop if they're on the minds of doing that. I would assume you do 2-stop just because tire wear is probably going to be a little bit too much to overcome. But we'll see, again, how this restart entails with Marin. I believe he's going to restart on the outside lane, or is he on the inside?
Yeah.
No, he's inside.
Yeah, I saw Marin there just kind of sifting through. He was kind of low RPM as possible there. Might be trying to save a little bit of fuel in that number 24 car, but let's see what happens in that restart zone. He's the inside control driver on the loud pedal. Scioli struggling on that outside. Saw that on Tuesday too. Restarts are hard for that second place car, but that gives Sebastian pretty good jump into one.
And Jeff Wright not afraid to take it 3 deep going in the 1. See him back there flirting with the top 10 position between himself and Mason Kane. He's going to clear both of them. And still some good side-by-side action heading into turn 3. Top 5 spot up for grabs. John Furness, Jonathan Evans with Justin Sogak rolling the top coming out of 4.
That was something I didn't see too much the other day on Tuesday night. That outside lane, even with that additional banking that it provides, I didn't see it as advantageous as I would have expected. So we'll see if that 28 can make that 20 degrees of banking work. Less bumpy there in that middle groove, and he will indeed carry that momentum through and clear the 26, but he'll use that momentum to close in a little bit further to the back bumper of Scioli. Getting right to that back bumper. Everyone's ripping the bottom there, getting a little dirty air on the nose. That's not going to help things, but another lap by 7 on the board.
So all loose the 73 was through turn 4. That thing was wiggling out the back end a bit as first 7 cars or so are single file. Then you get back to around where Justin Opplinger is. And again, Jeff Wright just trying to find anywhere to make up time and positions on the racetrack. He's looking to the outside of the 55. Jeremy Miller having to play defense on both bottom and outside lane. Meanwhile, another playoff contender in Nate Stewart. He's past Mason Kane for that 10th position. And he's got a pretty decent run heading towards the 48.
Yes, he does. Now Opplinger down to the inside, and this is something I did see. Maybe they weren't ripping the outside voluntarily, but it's a lot easier to play defense in that middle lane, and sometimes we've seen guys get stuck to the inside, and I wonder if Opplinger is going to be stuck there. There's a small gap between him and Nate Stewart, but Stewart trying to fill that in, but actually the inverse is going to be the case. Looks like everyone's going to gravitate to the bottom and try to put Miller out to dry on that outside line.
Yeah, it all ebbs and flows with the momentum of wherever the majority goes, whether that be on the bottom or the outside. Chances are you're going to want to follow them, and you don't want to get caught on the outside or inside of them. Otherwise, you're going to lose plenty of time, and that's why we see mostly single file. You got to go back to Casey Lakatos, Bryce Senesac, and even behind them, Garrick Rand and Michael Venable, 15th up for grabs with Braxton Deweese closing in.
Braxton Deweese closing in, and just behind that, you have Alan Fox, John Forbes. This is all towards the back of the field, but looking a little bit higher up, and you see that 55 is right to the rear deck lid, if not into the back of Anna Sogak in that number 88. Opplinger will take that run down to the inside. A little bit of side draft. Actually, the 88 got a pretty good run. 55 will have to shove it on in there. 88 going to pinch him down, make him run tight down there. And as I said, that outside plays some pretty good defense, and that's going to be a difficult pass for Opplinger.
Yeah, he's going to try and send it going into turn 1, and it looks like Justin's going to give him the spot. So Justin takes the spot away from Justin. Justin falls down to 7th as Justin moves up to 6th.
Of course, that sun down the back straightaway. Brutal here. Kind of can't tell who's who here. Perhaps it'll go down a little bit, help us out in due course. But 32, Mason Kane to the outside of the racetrack. Nate Stewart to the inside. And I don't know who's the passer and the passee, but I do know that trends have been leaning towards Nate Stewart taking it easy and losing spots at the beginning of runs the past few weeks. So if he's losing spots, that wouldn't surprise me. Potentially to be gained later in the race, as even Casey Lakatos here looking to the inside of Nate Stewart. That's not something that has happened too many times this season, but obviously Nate's usually pretty good about having an ultimate plan, even if we don't understand it in the early part of the race.
Very unrelated to this, but if you like your pilot and flying J's, 2nd through 9th, it's all J-listed drivers.
There you go. Little tidbits of information, always fun and appreciated. And what else is appreciated is not the sun off turn number 2. It's a battle for the race lead. Two very similarly colored vehicles here. Jake Nichols in the 73. He's wrapping the bottom a little bit better than Marin is, but that may or may not mean anything with that banking that we do have here at Las Vegas. You can see the run, see him getting a little bit closer, and let's see if they'll run the same lane or if a little bit different. Nope, they're going to follow right in each other's tire tracks.
Jake's keeping it pretty low compared to Marin through 1 and 2, but 3 and 4, we're not even going to see it here because he's got such a good run to the inside. Past couple of times, that 24 has left a big enough gap on that bottom open for the 73, getting clean air on that nose, and it's propelled him into this battle for the lead.
Yeah, but as we've said over and over, that outside lane plays a really good defense with that extra banking, with that extra momentum. 1 and 2 specifically, a lot bumpier down there on the bottom of the racetrack. You have to fight that wheel to keep that car stable, and Nichols having trouble with that, and he'll pull back in line as Evans, I think he just got by Scioli, so that 26, he wants to find something. He wants some new sponsors, and to get some sponsors, you got to show your stuff. You got to win some races. You got to compete. 26 is on the wheel for it.
Yeah, that would be the ultimate kibosh, winning the next round of the playoffs after being eliminated.
That's
I've
terrible.
seen that happen. I've seen that happen to my favorite driver, Dale Jr., back in 2014. Got eliminated, and then the next round started in Martinsville, and he won that. And
let's not talk. We're 11 years past that Martinsville race as a Gordon fan. Let's not talk about it. I'm still not over it yet. Oh. Gordon had that championship won, but Junior had to steal that race. Still not over it, but either way, 15, 16 laps into it. Worth noting still, Nichols has not thrown in the white flag yet. He still is in the pits. Mason Kane, actually, what happened to Mason? I don't see anything triggered on the back end, but something, he towed to the pits. Something must have happened to the 32 car. Oh, yeah, so something happened to Mason at some point or another. But either way, we'll go back to live footage because that is a non-factor here currently on lap number 18, as we still have this battle for the lead. And as you can tell, as the tires age, they move up and up the track. Now they're using that middle lane as their default go-to line.
yeah, Jake's trying to get some cleaner air any way that he can because Marin's capped off that bottom, not letting him get any clean air below him, but Jake's trying to get a run beneath the 24. He's close enough towards him, but he can't quite work a way around him. So he's going to try and, well, the 24 is going to mimic where he runs, and Jake's going to back off, getting a little more clean air on the bottom. Probably set up for a solid move going into 3, maybe? Or not even.
Something that a lot of drivers will do here on these progressively banked tracks is they'll try to run right on those seams, or if your car is running a little bit tight, if you kind of straddle the seam of where each banking meets, sometimes that will, as they call, de-wedge the car and handle it a little bit better. Shocked that that's not something that these drivers are doing. Perhaps maybe they are handling pretty nice. Actually, you can see them doing it right there, right on that right seam. That's between the second and third lanes here at Vegas. But Sebastian doing a masterful job mirror driving, putting that dirty air on that number 73, and running those times that he needs to run to keep that race lead.
Yeah, it's been a miracle for Sebastian Marin. He might have tapped the wall there coming out of 4, but he's got that 73 close to his bumper no matter where we've been. And Jake's going to try and send it for the lead going into 1, but it's tough on that bottom with the bumps, and he's got to back off and live to fight another battle. Meanwhile, Jonathan Devon's going to have an opportunity to pounce going into turn 3.
Yep, here he comes down to the inside, and 73 left a lot of bottom open there, and I thought that could have opened the door for a little bit of a Vegas haymaker slide job that we saw plenty of on Tuesday night, but not to be had. A little bit too early maybe for that risk to be had, but you can clearly tell the 73 is the faster car. Now he's going to go all the way to the third lane, highest we've seen anybody get, and look at that run he has through the center, exiting back straightaway, but will he be able to take advantage? I bet Marin's going to pinch him down. Marin will, he'll leave him a fair amount of space. Shocked he didn't just pull off the slider there.
Seems like he's got the preferred groove, at least coming off of 4, because he knows how bad the bumps are in 1. He's willing to let the 73 of Nichols have it because The outside lane is the lane you want to be in, going through 1 and 2. There you see the 73 fighting through the bumps, but the 24 is going to have the run, and he's going to have momentum from the 26 behind him.
And I'll see what happens here. Entering turn number 3, a little bit of slipstream, a little bit of draft, but no, look at 26. He's ripping the Reddick line all the way up there against the fence, and if it works, he's going to get a huge run. You can see the 73 didn't get off the corner at all that time, and now Evans going to use that momentum from the top, and now Nichols going for the lead may actually lose a spot in the shuffle.
Yeah, Sether, those 9-degree banking on the front and back stretch. We'll see happen time and time again on the front stretch where guys try to block runs coming out of 4 and it won't be enough. Guys will actually go up and use the outside groove of that front stretch. And we saw Evans do that, and we're seeing probably the 50 of Casey Lakatos fly by the 09 of Senesac on the outside, with Michael Venable trying to follow suit with some momentum.
Now it looks as though Lakatos did lose the spot to Nate Stewart. Nate Stewart did go back up into the 10th spot, but this is the first side-by-side battle, and same verse, second verse, same as the first. They're seeing that same situation. Outside groove, as I said, it plays the defense of champions, and it makes that inside a lot more difficult. And just in that same process, Venable says, all right, Senesac's pinched down to the bottom. I'm going to take advantage of it. Senesac was going for a spot. He's going to lose a spot. And then we have John Forbes, not a playoff driver. I think he still may have the contingency for it, but not a playoff driver. He hasn't done anything here today. Started 14th, still 14th, as Senesac will get up and evade further loss.
Been stagnant for that Forbes Jr. machine. Meanwhile, Evans having a peek to the inside, looking to grab the lead from Marin, who's ripping the outside groove. Evans going to have the run on the bottom, but the momentum from that outside keeping Marin in the lead for now.
And I saw Marin doing that in practice, not just running the outside, running the wall. And remember, iRacing does model the physics of that, you know, with the aero bubble, and you know, you're packing air off the right rear. It builds up against the wall. It builds essentially a bubble that helps you keep it off the wall. It doesn't guarantee you, but it helps you keep it off the wall. Gives you a little bit more downforce. I saw Marin practicing that, and clearly it worked, at least in the short term, as we close in on the heavily damaged car of Joseph Berg, who, even without a hood, still on the lead lap, but that fact is no longer valid 1 lap down.
He is going to be all up in that wall, trying to give the leaders as much room as possible as the yellow comes back out.
Bryce Senesac was just talking about him. And not just him, Mr. Michael Venable having some problems. And let's go back on our Hendry County Motorsports Park replay and try to sort something out here.
Yeah, this was around 12th and 13th on the racetrack, so decent track position.
50 of Casey Lakatos in the front. They're side by side. Oh, Venable made some contact there, and then they all just, as I like to say my made-up word, coagulated together. We'll get a slightly more tight-on shot of that. Yeah, contact from Forbes. If I can get a perspective from Forbes, then I think that would be the final nail in the coffin to kind of be our pseudo broadcaster admins here. Contact. Yeah, he kind of double tapped into the back of the 09 there, so I don't know what they're going to call on that, because that kind of had 3 different instances of wreck, but either way, not our job to make that call. We'll let you know what they do decide, but what the drivers will decide is to make a pit stop here about 30 laps into it.
Yeah, that wreck was weird, and it was unfortunate because Senesac was kind of pinched in a Bermuda Triangle, if you will, with 3 different guys hitting him at once, and he is all the way to that inside wall and still trying to get it into his pit box, as we'll see some guys come in and pit, and looks like most of them get in okay. Oh, the 7 did not get in all the way, so he might lose a position or 2.
And I do not expect any strategy calls. I do expect 4 tires and fuel, as you can see. Now people exiting their stall. And Jonathan Evans is going to drag race, but he'll stop as Marin will get out of the pits first. To no surprise of anybody, and that'll be our first caution of the race. And of course, we did have our Hendry County Motorsports Park replay. Racing will return there on September 20th with tickets for $20. Kids age 5 and under get in free. Family pack of 4 always for $25 at the southernmost dirt track in America in Clewiston, Florida. I know they are doing something at the end of August. I know they were doing some kind of demo derby, fun night, and all the stuff Jason Beckner let us know about. So even though they are officially back mid-September, they will have some fun stuff going on end of August. Check them out at HendryRacing.com. I feel like Hunter is, as my friend Andre would say, popping a goog and vigorously trying to find what that event is in late August.
I will be in the state of Florida in August. May not be late August, but we'll be making a visit down there as we got the 1 to go and some guys making up some track position. As the 7th Skyler, you saw him, he had a mishap, didn't get in his pit box all the way, fell all the way down to 7th. So Jeremy Miller moves up into 6th. Opplinger inside the top 5.
Oh, Hunter, this is almost perfection here. If you look at the ticker, yellow, regular, yellow, regular, yellow, regular, yellow. We just need one spot between Nate and Jeff, and we have the perfect alteration of colors. For those who are OCD, that's just a cool thing to see. Sorry, I know it means nothing, but I like being interested by things like that. Oh, now it's all broken. Never mind. We got it for about 7 seconds.
I didn't even think we had it for 1 second.
But it was 1 second enough. But anyways, I digress with stuff that is not important because I find not important stuff interesting. But what we did see at the end of that run, we saw the long run speed from Jonathan Evans as he was staring down a battle for the race lead. And now he has the second most ideal position if he can get the jump from the outside lane. And does he have the early run pace to make a challenge to that 24 who has led, I believe, every single lap here on the day? But the pace car is in. Barney has the flag. We'll head into the Echo Park restart zone for a restart. Leader gets the jump, of course. The battle will be, of course, for second.
Yeah, Evans did not get a good jump at all. Nichols going to try and take back that second position. Meanwhile, Furness and Opplinger are going to duke it out for the 4th position. Miller and Skyley looking to make up some ground coming off of 2 and a little 3-wide action, but still mostly side-by-side through 3.
Scioli just stuck in that box right now. Opplinger there, Furness to the outside, Jeremy Miller. You can see Anna Sogak trying to throw his hat in the ring. The 88 car in the 8th spot, at least at the present moment. Nate Stewart trying to take advantage, and he's been playing a lot of catch-up games lately. With EOLs and this bad track position, so he'd like to get to the front early and be able to compete with these guys, for a good portion of the race rather than just having a last-second surge here. But to start things off, Marin has that lead. Evans, all that work he did to get second, is going to have to do it all over again because Nichols took advantage on that restart.
Got back into second, and Evans down to 3rd. 4th, though, still up for grabs between the 28 of Furness on the outside, the 55 of Opplinger on the inside. Skyley's made up a spot since the restart. Miller's down to 7th, and then Nate Stewart moving up to 8th. Anna Sogak 9th, and then Jeff Wright holds that 10th position.
Just going slightly outside that top 10. You have Lakatos there, who did say he's had very little TV time this year. I found offense to that because we have showed that 50 quite a bit this season. Somebody kicking the outside wall there off turn number 4. Saw some sparks, saw some smoke, but we all carry on just fine. And Wright going to sail it on and on the outside. I thought he was going to try to get to the outside of Stewart. The momentum will not carry him through, but Jeff Wright trying some whatever he can to make something happen.
Trying to. But of the playoff drivers that are still in the field, everyone is inside the top 10. Zach Nichols going to have a interesting night next week, or actually 2 weeks' time in Auto Club. And Travis Becker's not even here.
Oh, yeah, I didn't notice that.
So that's gonna make Auto Club even more interesting.
Yeah, we actually had on Tuesday night as well, one of the playoff drivers was not able to attend, so that does, of course, put some more stress on there. Still are, if they make it on points, even missing the event, or if they win, they still can transfer through. We can kind of confirm that from what we've seen. So it doesn't completely write things out, but Auto Club will be a track that should have a lot of drafting. We'll have a lot of pack racing with the various lines there at play. So I wouldn't want to bet anything or put any necessity towards winning that race because it will not be easy. But up front, Marin pulling away. First time we've really seen it tonight. Let's take a look at the lap times here to let you know where they are running. A 97 to a 31 flat, 31 flat, 31-1. And scrolling down, yeah, he is the only one in that 30-second bracket last time round.
Yeah, he is not. Well, Marin is making it easy. The rest of the field, not so much. Trying to create a big enough gap, and he's doing just that around the 73 of Nichols. Meanwhile, Licata's saying he wants more TV time. He's going to drive inside the top 10 on the outside of Anna Sogak and the 88, and then Justin Bolton in the 4, kind of lurking in the back as they work their way into 1.
And we're just seeing the difficulty in making that inside lane work. I don't know how difficult it was for them on Monday night, Hunter, in the next-gen cars, but with the next-gen cars having that bigger wheelbase and more grip, I'd imagine they probably had an easier time running that bottom lane. But Xfinity cars, with the power they have, the small wheelbase, lack of overall mechanical and aero grip, they need that banking to lean on, so that bottom does tend to be difficult, even more so as the tires age.
Yeah, we saw towards the end of that first run, lap times were around 1.1 to 1.3 seconds off the fastest time. So maybe if we get a little bit of a longer run, we'll see how far they can go. As Nate Stewart in the 05, again, he's quietly working his way through this field. He's closed up on the bumper of Scioli in the 6th spot, and he's going to try and take it to the outside going in the 1 and entering this race. The Stewart machine entered 7th in the standings, about 12 points outside the cutoff, but with Beckner not being here and Zach Nichols being caught up in that wreck, well, so he hits the wall in the backstretch. Could be a huge night for this 05.
Yeah, just one of those nights where you can take the edge off and, you know, instead of putting some serious pressure, maybe taking a more risky strategy call to put yourself in. Given what we've seen with one driver down, one driver out, or basically out in the form of Zach Nichols, he can kind of play a more conservative race and know that he'll probably be in the cut line at the end of this race, barring a catastrophe. But looking up front, we are seeing Sebastian's pace start to fall. That gap got up to 0.4 of a second, and now it's already halved. It's down to 2. Let's take a look at the fall off just so we have that perspective. You were just bringing up that there, Hunter. A 51. So we're down about 0.8 of a second in fall off, and we have run about 13 laps on this stint.
Yeah, and it seems like it's starting to catch up to the 24 now, or at least Marin's starting to cool down and start to save some tire a bit, because that 73 has reeled him in, as has the 26 of Jonathan Evans. So slowly but surely they're starting to bunch up again. That's the 13 of Braxton DeWeese, looking to get around Brody Falker for that 15th spot, coming off of 4. Got a good run, but it's just going to keep it to his backside and work his way into 1 right behind him.
Yeah, battle has concluded. This battle is, it's kind of hard to tell. Bolton might be a little faster, but he's running that inside lane, and just, you know, now that the inside is starting to go away, whether it be from temperature or whether it just be from the tire wear, needing that extra grip up top. Drivers are struggling to make passes here. Track position much more difficult, and depending how this race goes, maybe you have to take a risky pit call. But, you know, speaking of risky calls, running down there on the flat, super bumpy down there below the apron here at Vegas, Hunter. I think the risk reward on it's a little bit lower, but risk is not something Wright is afraid of, evidently.
No, he was not afraid, and he got into the outside wall. A little too adventurous there for that 48. Running in the 9th spot, looking through his point standings, he entered 2 points below the cut line, but don't want to get too close to that wall, otherwise it's going to start to affect your race car and how you manage the rest of the race. We still have over half the race left to go, and pretty sure these two wouldn't mind if the 48 bumped out of the top 10 because they'd have an extra position, and a Sogak trying to save it coming out of 2. Bolton up to 11th.
Yeah, Bolton trying to work his way through. Anna Sogak going all the way down. Philip Groner not too far back at the 12th spot. And see different lines here at play. That 4 ripping all the way up on the top of the track, but looking a little bit further up. Talked about Nate Stewart wanting the track position. He's getting it the old-fashioned way. He's driving for it, and put him in the top 5. And I'm just trying to think, Hunter. Of course, I wasn't here last week, but I don't remember how many races Nate Stewart has been up front in the beginning of a race where he was able to set himself up for success. He's always been, for one reason or another, having to play catch-up the majority of the race. And this must be refreshing for him to be in the thick of it, early into it, when you can actually, strategize your plan.
Yeah, look at that. And his lap times, he's still slower than the leaders, but he's just methodically been able to get around Burness, Opplinger, Scioli, Miller. I mean, he restarted outside the top 10, and he's driven all the way up to 4th now. So, seems like he's got a good car the longer the run goes. We'll see if this can continue because, I mean, the further up you go on the leaderboard, the more tough the competition is. Evans, Nichols, Marin, they've kind of been the big 3 of this race right now, so we'll have to see if the 05 can compete with the big dogs.
We'll see if that's the case here. And Casey, I'm not doing this on purpose. It's just circumstantial that whenever there's single file, the first battle involves him. And unfortunately for him, it's going in the wrong direction. Anna Sogak, who has been losing spots himself, but he's underneath, and he's going to sail it on in there. That's kind of the Vegas slide or the Vegas haymaker we saw on Tuesday night. And Lakatos will try the crossover move. And where will Groner go? Groner will stick to the bottom. Will that stay the case in 1 and 2, or will he go to the top with Anna Sogak? No, he's going to follow through with Lakatos down to the inside, and even driving, looking 3 wide for a brief moment.
Very dicey towards the back of this one, all for 11th. Anna Sogak takes that spot. Here comes the 11 of Philip Groner trying to look for 12th. The 90 of Alan Fox. I haven't talked about him all night. He's trying to enter in the mix because he's working closer towards that top 10. Gonna give the No, he's not. He's trying to go around the 50 on the outside. Meanwhile, Braxton DeWeese is joining the party as well.
Yeah, you'd think this is for $1 million. No, this is for a 13th spot, and they are genuinely 3 abreast here off of turn number 2. Alan Fox going to make like 2 trailer park girls go around the outside there, take 2 for 1. Bob's your uncle, so having some fun. Going a little bit further back, Garrett Grant, a name we haven't talked about too much. John Forbes there. Again, he is the lowest of the playoff drivers here on the evening, but 17 car matching his position right there in that same spot. But either way, lap 52 on the board, going up front. Nichols starting to fall back. And, Hunter, we talked when that caution came out that the strategy may be kind of dissolved a little bit, but now I'm starting to still go back to the original claim that you can probably one-stop this race and pit early, or I'm wondering if there's still a chance at 2 stops, if maybe you come in around, actually no, probably not. But the window to make the stop may be a lot wider than we originally thought it could be.
Yeah, the early yellows have definitely helped that out a lot. So the 24 is going to go around Berg on the bottom. Berg's going to keep it to the outside, but yeah, that first yellow kind of thwarted everything. Guys could save fuel a little more than the yellow on lap 28. Really solidified everything where guys can pit now and then just make one more stop and then be good to go for the rest of the way. As Evans has kind of closed the gap on Jake Nichols. Not too far between the two, about a car length or so. And then Nate Stewart just lurking in the back, waiting for something to happen.
That's the way that my thought process is thinking. Maybe you could pit around lap 75 and take advantage of the fresh tires early, stay out and suffer for the longer part of the run. Or maybe you want to stretch it the full distance to lap 80 or 90 and have the freshest tires for the shortest time frame. So if this does stay green, certainly some things to consider depending on where you are and what your specific race goals are, but certainly some entertaining stuff. And if you need some more entertainment, let's pause that thought because we have something going on down the back straightaway.
Holy cow, who is that?
It was
Jeff Wright.
I saw Jeremy Miller in the 30 have the save of champions, or so I believe anyways. Let's take a look at our Hendry County replay and watch that number 30, because I could have swore I saw him dead sideways. Yep, there he goes. There he goes. Now Jeff Wright. Yeah, he had to avert all the way down there to the flat, merge back up. That was just about as difficult, if not more so, than what Jeremy Miller had to do.
Yeah, he's lost some positions after that, but it's better than having a beat-up race car that you can't continue in. But we'll see if he can make that up through pit cycle, or if yellow comes out, try to do something different. Meanwhile, Evans still hot on the tails of Jake Nichols for second.
Yeah, let's see. He's using that outer lane, trying to get that run, and he's just, instead of looking lower, he's chasing them higher. And 3 and 4, usually the inside is the preferred way to go, even on these older tires. But see if that 26 can get a run. He cannot. So certainly entertaining stuff. And what I was just about to do is one of our ad reads here with Elite Entertainment. If you're looking to add some more entertainment to your party, they are in Boiling Springs, South Carolina. They do Singo, karaoke, and more, and they offer that high-quality band production that can help out your event. To the link tree in the description, the Elite Entertainment LLC, for all their information. If this race is not entertaining enough, I don't know what more you could possibly ask for. But looking a little bit further, Jeff Wright, after that excursion, John Forbes is now to his inside. Forbes was just in 17th, and in a matter of about 5 laps, he's trying to go for P12 now.
Yeah, trying to work his way through the field. The 48 of Jeff Wright starting to fall off the pace a little bit. Seems like him hitting the wall, then scrubbing up some of the rubber off his tires from going 7 lanes down and back up. Might be starting to catch up with that 48, but he's still in the fight. Meanwhile, the 1, the 30, the 5, all duking it out for the top 15 as Miller's going to clear green and turn the 1 of Falliker on the front stretch. He's going to mow some grass, and we're going to stay green.
Oh, my God. Yeah, the aerial endeavors here through the grass. We caught that one live. Kudos to the producer. Hashtag that's me. Let's take a look here at the replay. We saw it live, but 30 of Miller coming off of corner number 4, and yeah, we'll just get one more brief look at it before we switch to live footage on board with the number 30 here. Yeah, he just kind of turned right into him, but unfortunately for Falliker here, just watch that, getting some airtime through the infield grass.
And Evans did give an incident point to Jeremy Miller for that. No one has got an incident point yet until just now, so both yellows, they were no harm, no foul, or something different out of the ordinary. That one, clear cut and dry, so the 30 plus 1 incident point for him. Meanwhile, the 50 of Lakatos, the 64 of Robertson, duking it out on the racetrack for 18th.
Casey, you got your TV time. We said good things about you, and now you're in, as we call it, Alicia Keys mode, because you keep on falling now, pushing basically the end of the field here. Last on the lead lap is now Falliker, obviously, because of what he just endured. But speaking of things going on, guys falling back. Only 1 spot, though, but the 26 of Evans will lose the spot to Nate Stewart as Jake Nichols. I thought that was a lapper. No, it was Nichols just running the fence. And all the while, Scioli, your pre-race pick, he has joined the end of this train as Marin's out by a second.
He's looking close to 3 wide. He's all the way on the bottom. Nate Stewart had a little bit of a wiggle, so they might stay 3 deep. They won't. But the 7 will have a run to the inside of Evans for that 4th position as Stewart's trying to hold it together. The 7, strong run through 3 and 4. He's going to try and slide up and clear the 26, but it won't be enough. Here comes Evans with a run off 4.
Yep, just couldn't quite clear. Maybe he did for a brief moment, but too early to take that risk to shut the door. And unfortunately for the 7, he couldn't quite dive and clear the 26 because Nate Stewart was taking that ground up on the outside of the racetrack. So he had to essentially try to do a double dive, and unfortunately didn't have the space for that. But let's see, he's going to go full send. Vegas haymaker, but not enough hay to be made. Will he clear the 05? Will the 05 cut him a slack? Answer is sort of yes, sort of no.
Now he'll cross him over, try to get a little bit of a run going into one. Oh, it is really tight between these three. Oh, really tight. But Scioli's going to clear third for now and try to drive away. Stewart's going to clear a fourth from Jonathan Evans. And even behind them is starting to get a little bit gaggled up. You got Furness, Opplinger, and Bolton. Haven't talked too much about that 4 car tonight, but it seems like every time he's running, he gets faster and faster as the race goes on. He's gotten a lot of fourth-place finishes this season, and he's looking to get around a playoff contender as he inches closer towards that top 5.
Yeah, they're trying to pinch that 55 car of Opplinger down to the inside of the track. Furness running the outside, and it looks as though Bolton's saying, I want to go meet in the sandwich, but I'm going to make the more informed decision and not do that as they're stuck behind that 28 one way or another. They want to try to find a way around, but for the time being, actually, here he goes. Furness is going to go all the way to the top, and now Bolton says, all right, you left the lane open. I'm going to take it. We're going to go 3 wide off curve number 4. Contact, too, between the 4 and the 28.
3 deep for the 6th spot. The 4 is going to take it around the 28. Opplinger is going to be low going into 1, but Bolton's going to take 2 of them and try to drive away now as he's 1 spot away from cracking the top 5. That belongs to Jonathan Evans, who is still hot on the trails of Nate Stewart.
Luckily, the sun has gone down enough where we can actually make out the cars off of turn number 2. So, gonna love that little tidbit of information. But here comes Scioli, still on the charge forward. Nichols all the way to the outside, and I think Nichols is just going to let him go and play nice. Well, maybe not play nice, but realizing let him go may be the better spot. But now Nate Stewart, he saw the door open. He tried to squeeze himself in there, nearly made some contact with both of them. And now Jonathan Evans is going to try to pinch Stewart down, but Stewart will find the gap, get back in line.
Nichols knows that his tires are dwindling, and rather than fighting with a teammate, they'll just let him go and see what the 7 can do to chase down Sebastian Marin. Still 1.7 seconds separating first and second, but behind him, it's a battle for third. Stewart to the inside of Nichols, and they're going to be close to making contact through 1. They're going to slide up the track and look out for that 26. He might have a run coming off, too.
Yeah, they were both fighting for the middle lane there, and I don't think that Nichols was expecting that. I thought he was expecting Stewart to go all the way down the flat, and now Nichols says, no confusion here. I'm going to just go run the fence, and let's just go on board. We'll see if it works. This is how you know it works. Off an exit, he's getting the run, and I'd say it was not really a net positive, but it broke him equal there. But now Evans looking to the inside, and all the while, Sebastian Marin, we're talking about second, Sebastian Marin has pulled away as Vegas has gone under massive cloud cover here.
Yeah, track temp at 91. It's a very cool 80 degrees here, which that is...
whole track in shade.
It's an interesting feel and an interesting look, as you mentioned it. Shady Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and look at that 4 car. I mean, he is just so fast on this long run. He's going to try and work his way around Jake Nichols for that 5th spot. Evans has gone around the 73. He's going to slide up, block that run from Jake Nichols as Bolton's trying to keep his nose in front of the 73 and maybe even look at getting around Evans for 4th into turn 3.
This is very interesting to see because we saw the dynamics between the first stint and the last stint. Evans was going for the race lead prior to that caution. Here on the second stint, now he is struggling to maintain a spot in the top 5. And you can see the same thing about that 73 of Jake Nichols. And then, you know, Sebastian Marin finding something, but Bolton's going to clear. He's going to go up the track, try to clear, but I don't know if he is. And I think that Evans may have done him a little bit of a solid there off of turn number 2 because that was close.
That was a little too close for comfort. We're going to have to get another replay of that from Hendrick County Motorsports Park. That is one way to get it done around Las Vegas, but flirting with disaster at that point.
Evans cracked the throttle. I think that was one of those risk versus reward things, and says he may be in the wrong, but you know what? Not worth having us both out of the race on lap number 72. But here comes Bolton underneath Stewart. This is for the 2nd spot, and you could correct me. You're kind of more the statistician, Hunter, but the beginning of this stint, was he not outside of the top 10, Justin Bolton?
He might have.
Pretty close to it.
Been.
He was not in the thick of it, but look at him, P3, about 7/10 off of Scioli for 2nd, but everybody in a different zip code than that number 24.
Yeah, his Bolton's worst finish was Talladega, and that was 28th. Other than that, his 6 starts he's finished inside the top 10 in all of them, and he's got 5 top 5s to his name, with 3 of those being 4th place finishes for that number 4. But still looking for that first win, and could come tonight if he keeps running at this pace. As the 48 of Jeff Wright, boy, yeah, it's been a chaotic race for him, to say the least. Has been into the wall, has avoided a wreck or two as the 8 comes on the pit road. This could be the opening sign for green flag pit stops if you want to try and make it to the rest of the way on fuel.
Yeah, we're lap 45 in, and mathematics does not do me solids here. It's 55 to go right now, so obviously we are well within fuel range to make it, but how do you want to space out those tires? Do you want to have the tires now and then play defense later, or do you want to go full send for as long of a time frame as possible by having that shortest of a stint possible? So that's going to be the question. Tire fall off here. Let's talk about it with our race leader. Wrong graphic. It is this one right here. We are down 1.7-ish seconds. So that is a sizable amount of time on the table with an early pit stop.
Slaughter is probably trying something different. Not in contention to win, so
Alan Fox
could open the door.
Casey Lakatos back into the field, deciding to come down here.
Yeah, those guys running in the back, something different for them to try and see if it works out.
Absolutely, as they'll try whatever they can sort out here. And as lap number 77, one of our other channel partners here, well, league partners more so, Rick's Hot Sauce. If you're looking for some hot sauce, try some of their flavors made locally in South Florida. Lokahatchee Classic, Golden Garlic, Palm Beach Pineapple, South BT. You can follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle. $100 to win for the highest finishing rookie there on Monday nights on the IDK Player YouTube channel. Again, rickshotsauce.com. Battle here. This is Jeremy Miller and Garrett Grant. This is all in the mid-teens right here, where the mid-teens back into the field. That's been where the pit stops have been made. Would you not think, Hunter, that if you were, let's say, a Jeff Wright, who is the lowest on the totem pole of our playoff drivers still in the race, maybe he would probably be one of those prime recipients of maybe doing this early stop and trying to get what he can get while he is so far out of the picture?
Definitely consider it. I'm not sure if he's thinking about maybe waiting to go later and possibly having better tire for the longer, or for the latter stage of this run. We are halfway through this race, but yeah, I'm not sure how much longer you stay out if you're the 48. If the leaders come down,
or the 73 then, for that matter.
Yeah. I think if the leaders start to come down, if you're Jeff Wright, you have to stay out and then commit to having better tire towards the later stages of the run.
And Jake Nichols down to 7th now. Justin Anisogak, he's in the pits. He was right outside the top 10
as well.
Yep, Stewart. Here we come. Garrett Grant and Jeremy Miller, who's had a chaotic day, has a chaotic pit entry. Ben Pierce just behind that. So this is right at 50 to go, where pit stops are becoming prevalent. And that will leave about 12 drivers still to receive service here. And the window probably still has about a maximum of 10 more laps on the fuel load if they desire to stretch it as long as possible.
Within the final 50 laps of this one, 2-second lead for Marin over Scioli. Justin Bolton, who's close enough to overtake the 7 if he wants to before they have to make their pit stops. Evans and Opplinger inside the top 5, and then there's the 28 of John Furness and the 13 of Braxton DeWeese.
What's up, saw on that wheel there, that 28 struggling off of 2.
Putting a lot into it as, again, the 4 make it up. Well, actually, he's coming down.
Oh, no, is he going to make it? Is he going to make it? Oh, I thought he was going to miss the pits. Last second call by Bolton. Heads in, and then Opplinger behind him. So this is the highest on the totem pole to head into the pits here this time by, that number 4 car. Say don't botch it. Get in that pit, slow down, and now we'll see when the leader is going to bite here. 2 seconds to play with. That's about 1 lap off tires based on what we're seeing, but Marin will keep it out, as will Scioli.
Anywhere around lap 90, you'd be in the sweet spot. 40 laps to go, you'd still have enough life to use the tires, and then there would be some fall off, but it wouldn't be as bad as the fall off they're experiencing right now. As I think they've gone 50 laps without pitting.
54 right now. Well, let's pull up our stint graphic and let you know at home who is where and who has made their stops. Forbes in, Ed Robertson in. But you can see the highest up on the totem pole is Alan Fox. And he is in that 11th spot. Behind that, you see Nate Stewart. And Alan Fox was nowhere near Nate Stewart, but you can just see him making that stop 4 laps sooner. That's all the time he gained on Nate Stewart, who was seconds and seconds ahead of him going into it.
Yeah, and the longer these leaders stay out, the better they're going to have tire
Jake
life.
Nichols.
That's big. That could open the door for the rest to come down. Braxton DeWeese slowing down. Looks like he's going to make a stop.
And here's our leader, Sebastian Marin. He probably saw Jake Nichols and said he might not be my biggest competitor here today in the race, but probably my biggest points competitor. And he's going to follow him the lap after, as is Jeff Wright. So Scioli getting the temporary lead here.
Whole lot of interesting strategies.
And we're basically finishing things off. We got Scioli, we got Evans. Evans did the last second surge there to gain as much time as possible and gained a fair amount in. Philip Groner there in third, and pretty sure as that will siphon things back around. Now Nate Stewart did get around Alan Fox, so once this all siphons through, Nate Stewart is actually going to be our leader. Justin Bolton just behind Fox there, and he'll get around Fox probably with modest ease here. I won't say relative ease, but modest level of ease. And he has the freshest, he has much fresher tires than Nate, about 3-4 laps, which is tangible. So if that 4 has track position and only about 5 lap older tires at Sebastian Marin, you know, we got a ball game on our hands potentially, Hunter.
Yeah, it's Marin's going to work his way around Anna Sogak. That is for 4th. They're still going to have to fend off the 24, and this is something that we haven't seen tonight where Marin is in dirty air. Going to have to work his way around Fox, Bolton, and Stewart to try and snatch the win on the night and lock himself into Charlotte as a championship contender. But we'll see if anything happens in between now and then as far as yellow eyes or some lap traffic getting in the way.
Well, actually, I'm going to scratch my optimism that I just had, Hunter, because I did not realize at first that Sebastian was only about a second back. I was more expecting him to be like 5-6 seconds back, and then he'd have to chase. As speaking of chase and speaking of passing, here comes Justin Bolton going for the lead on Nate Stewart. Nate Stewart had it for a very short period of time, but where Sebastian is so close, Bolton will clear pretty quick. But with only a second to play with, not 5 or 6, I don't have my optimism that I had about 2 minutes ago that someone's going to make the upset on Sebastian tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he can catch him, but he's still got to work his way around him unless they make him use the outside lane. Does have fresher tires than the front 2, though, so that couldn't go into his advantage as it's within half a second. You can fit these first 3 under a blanket. Bolton going to run the bottom. Stewart going to run that as well, as Marin's just going to work his way on that bottom and quickly get underneath the 05.
You can see there on that battle graphic to the bottom, he was 0.4 of a second faster last time by. Then the race leader, a 31.1 to a 30.7, gets by Nate Stewart as if, you know, it was a Busch car versus a, actually I can't say a Busch car versus a Cup car because Cup cars aren't even faster anymore, but, you know, a car out of his league. And now he's going to get, Bolton's going to try to shut the door to the inside. But that 24 is going to have the wherewithal in the grip. He's going to still pull right to the inside and try to drag race him down the backstretch.
Well, it would be much of a fight. The 4 is going to be on the outside. The 24 is just going to send it deep clear him with ease. New leader, Sebastian Marin, with 40 to go at Las Vegas.
Yep, so that dramatic endeavors we were talking about, that is not so much on, but either way, we'll see what happens if anything comes up to wrinkle the strategy. But Sebastian looking good to drive through to Charlotte, but still just under 40 laps to cement that for him. But if you are looking for something to listen to on your drive to work, or if you're at work and things are a little bit slow, you could check out the High Banks podcast. Two blue-collar guys, Nick and Alex, talking about NASCAR and more. Episode 228 has Jacob Bell. There's a myriad of newer episodes that you can entertain yourselves with. That's the High Banks podcast. Our mystery is still out there. Nobody has told me who Nick and Alex are yet. I still don't know, but they are cool to listen to, so check them out, High Banks podcast. Justin Anasogak here in that number 88 car, looking to the inside of the track and trying to clear on Alan Fox. And actually, here we go, John Forbes. He's going to take him 3 wide. He's down to that bumpy apron there. He kind of took flight for a little bit, but he will clear. John Forbes will get by both of them. Forbes is on fresher tires by about 4 and 7 laps, respectively, on Anasogak and Fox.
2-for-1 special there for John Forbes. Again, eliminated from the playoffs, but still with fight and determination to get a solid finish on the season. Running in the 5th spot could be a good night for him.
Yeah, indeed the case here, as things have surely spread out here. Now, Jonathan Evans, remember, he was 3rd-ish prior. Scioli was in a solid 2nd spot, but now back to 7th and 8th, and I'm not sure. I'm looking at the back-end telemetry on their pit timings and whatnot. Not sure how they fell so far behind. I know there's the newer tires are in front of them, but yeah, they didn't get through that traffic nearly as well. And now they're battling with each other, which surely won't help cause it so.
Indeed, as the 7, the 26, they've still got some ground to make up if they want to have a solid finish, especially the 7. Considering he's a playoff driver, but field's kind of been spread out now from the different strategies that have taken place. I mean, Marin in the lead, that's not a shock. Bolin all the way up to 2nd, that's, again, kind of expected with the way his pace was on the later end of that. Stewart 3rd, good. Opplinger 4th, kind of surprising. And then got the mumbo-jumbo of 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. So we've seen Evans inside the top 5 for almost the entirety of this race. But now he's got to work his way through, and he's got to do it with, well, not got to do it, but he's going to do it with the 7 trailing him from behind.
Exactly that, looking from behind here. That 26 has that number 7 looking sporty behind him. And if you want to look sporty, you can visit shop.areairacing.com for high-quality merch at low prices. Over 100 selection of t-shirt, hat, champion brand clothing, and other area accessories. Easy to shop, quicker to ship, better to wear. Shop.areairacing.com. Check it out. Link is in the description of the video. But at this juncture in the race, has a little summary. Brad Slaughter, Bryce Senesac, Mike Venable, Mason Kane, Zach Nichols, David Weishart, and Matt Kemp all retired from the event. Still have 17 drivers on the lead lap, final of those being Casey Lakatos there in the number 50. And the kind of the most off-the-pace driver, actually Ben Pierce, he is in the pits significantly, but has not fully retired, although he's been in the pits for about 10 minutes with a meatball flag. So he basically is out. So probably when it comes to attrition, Hunter, we had 21 essentially actual cars on the track. This is one of the biggest attrition to field size races that we've had in quite some time.
Indeed, as the field has been spread around quite a bit. Again, Marin running away with it, 1.4 seconds, about to be 1.5 from Justin Bolin. Again, Nate Stewart still a solid night in the 3rd position, but Opplinger is making up some ground, about 7 car lengths back from the 05. And then not too far back from him, John Forbes Jr. mentioned got a few laps fresher tires than both Stewart and Opplinger, so that could build for an interesting podium battle.
That could be indeed the case here. And again, all those yellow stripes indicate the playoff drivers. Opplinger is someone who wasn't really in the thick of it for a good amount of time, but has drove his way into that good position to, have a good solid run. And just as a final perspective, as the point standings went into today's race, Opplinger needed a good run. He's going to get one, hopefully. Nate Stewart needed a good run. Beckner not here. Wright has had an average run. Nichols, he was out early on lap 1. Scioli, the other Nichols, has been kind of mid as of late. And Sebastian Marin looking to point his, instant transfer his way in to the final race of the season at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. So this is good news for Opplinger, but even so, even with this good run, he's still going to be right on that line, most likely, heading into next week at Auto Club, or 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, 2 weeks' time. That's the good thing about some of these guys who are going to be in a deep hole, looking to get themselves out. They have a extra week to prepare for Auto Club so they can get down. We got a little gaggle here, the 30, the 90, the 48. This is all for position on the racetrack for the 10th spot, actually. Miller, Jeff Wright looking to get around Alan Fox and Miller. Here comes Braxton DeWeese closing in. We got a little interesting shindig for the 10th spot.
Yeah, and good. Of course, Wright, as I said, he's in a spot where he could use some points, and he's going to try to get a couple spots there, move himself into the 10th spot. And again, his tires are better than that. He does have Anna Sogak in front of him. A little bit of ways up, but he does have fresher tires, so we may be able to chop him down, maybe get to that 9th spot. But kind of our second half of the race storyline, I'd have to say, is that number 73. Earlier in the race, I don't think he's led a lap here today. No, he's not, but he was second, third, chasing down Marin for the lead. But something happened to that number 73, and he has just been pseudo out to lunch, really, after that first caution.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a head scratcher for that 73. I'm not really sure what's happened to him.
Whoa! Falliker in the fence, trying to get out of the way of the top 5.
Yeah, I mean, that's one way to do it. Just go as high as you can. If you hit the wall, then good, you're there. It'll be tight with Jonathan Evans. Again, not a lap car. Sorry, this is 4th position. 5th place and 6th place. Here comes 6th place. Jonathan Evans looking to get around 5th place. John Forbes Jr. with 7th place. James Scioli lurking in the back. Could try and do another 2-for-1 special.
2-for-1, always fun to do here. Here comes Scioli on those fresher tires, trying to come through and make something happen. Evans and that 7 on the freshest set within this bunch. 3rd place is on offer. That is what Nate Stewart is holding. But they're battling with themselves and kind of stunting their growth through the field. But 23 laps to go. That's only about 12 minutes of racing, so no time to really mess around. You've got to get while it's there right in front of you.
Real close. Here comes Opplinger looking to the inside of Nate Stewart. And yeah, this is for the podium spot, so these guys want to talk to us after the race. Really bad if there's 5 of them under a blanket for this position. The 55 below the 05. Stewart's going to get loose off of 4. He's going to have some momentum, and here comes the 17 of Forbes Jr. giving it to him, heading into turn 1, but Opplinger's going to clear, not quite before they get there.
And they're just about 3 wide behind that. You see the 7 of Scioli, the 17 of Forbes Evans. Those guys on the fresher tires, but they're stuck. They can't go anywhere with it. That inside lane becoming very difficult to pass, and maybe a little tap from the 17 to the 05. 17 in the middle, 05 barely kept it off the fence. He didn't keep it off the fence that time by. So Nate Stewart's going to go from 3rd to 7th in about 1 corner.
Interesting tactic there from the 17. Not sure if there was actually any contact. We'll see a replay and maybe a little tap going into turn 3.
Yeah, let's go. This will probably be the defining camera here. Yeah, that was a little boot scooting boogie. Usually you say that at Texas, but at Sin City here today, a bump and run.
Yeah, well, he's still in the fight for this 3rd spot because the 7's now trying to work his way below the 55. John Forbes Jr. also looking to get a podium finish, and Jonathan Evans just watching this unfold, and again, Nate Stewart, even though he got bumped and tapped the wall on corner exit, he's still within the mix.
And now he's going to be driving red, most likely, because when you get nudged out of the way like that, I mean, you kind of expect it at a Martinsville, a Bristol, a Richmond. You don't really expect it out of Vegas, but I just don't know if he has the car to be able to get up to Forbes there. He is on worse tires than Forbes, so Forbes may indeed drive away. But Scioli, he has the fresher tires. He is scooting through. He's getting by Opplinger. Can he clear here off corner number 2? Answer is no. Opplinger will use that run from the top, use that momentum as Evans behind that, battling with Forbes. All the while, this is about a second and a half behind Bolton, who's in clear possession of second. And then out front, Sebastian Marin by 2.6 over Bolton, 20 to go. He has led all but 7 laps of what we've run thus far.
Man, that is just pure domination. As again, this podium fight, it will not die. While may taper off for third, but fourth's definitely heating up. The 55 on the outside of the 26, with the 17 giving him some momentum boost going into turn 3. And Evans going to send it deep to try and keep the 55 away. But Opplinger needs every spot he can, because that's a crucial point. Whoa, that got really tight off of 4.
Yeah, we saw some wall contact, saw some smoke. Not sure if it was actually wall contact or a little bit of a internet situation going on there, but either way, super tight quarters racing with 17 of Forbes. He's going to try to drive underneath Opplinger, but Opplinger gets that run on the outside, and now Nate Stewart, who's trying to regain whatever he can regain after that little bit of a faux pas, and then Jake Nichols, who's back to 8th, but all this side-by-side battling in front, that's allowing him to close in, and he does have 4-lap fresher tires, and some of those in this battle ahead of him, so maybe a little bit of salvaging can be done by that 73.
That could be very crucial few points that he could pick up here, as Forbes Jr. wants that top 5 around the outside on the 55 of Opplinger, and here comes the 05 of Nate Stewart, tailing his draft and heading low into 3. Actually, no, he's going to stay within the tire tracks of the 17, but the 55 stay low. Now the 05 will go low, as he's still closing in on this mix.
Now looking to the outside, Nate Stewart trying to get a whisker to the outside of Opplinger, because if he can do that, he can maybe pinch him down or do a crossover. That's not going to come into existence, but let's take a look. He's on the top, Opplinger to the bottom. Let's just watch. You can see from this camera, just look at that gap shrink, but actually it's not going to be as much of a net gain as I expected. Going a little bit further back, we do have some side-by-side. Jeff Wright in 11th, getting by Anna Sogak. He's going to put him back to 12th spot. But these kind of races there, Hunter, I always say it's very easy for us to forget the leader and for us to not discuss the dominant effort that is amongst us here. And leading all but 7 laps. All of those, by the way, were through a green flag pit cycle. That wasn't because someone closed in on him and passed him. Sebastian has basically run as perfect of a race as the caution strategy will allow him to run.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to do. It's hard to lead every lap on a super speedway or alone, but it's only happened a handful of times in Aria's history. But I mean, it's still a dominating performance nonetheless. He's put over 3 seconds on the 4 of Bolton, and he's just been dominant all season long. And if he can hold them off, pending a late yellow, that could spice things up. Could be seeing at your first championship contender into Charlotte.
Man, as I said earlier in the broadcast, if he can win here at a track that is not quite a Charlotte Motor Speedway, because it is not a 24-degree quad oval, but it is a track that has similar stature in its intermediate status, that could certainly be something to help his confidence level even further here. But as we go further and further through the field, you can see Nichols has gained a spot over Nate Stewart. So Stewart dropping back to 8th, but still won't be a terrible points day for him given what has happened to some of the other drivers.
Yeah, definitely would have been a better one, though, if he was to finish inside the top 5. But him being passed late in the going by 3 playoff drivers now, it's a little bit concerning. I mean, we'll see what the point standings tell after this, but Yeah, Travis Becker not being here, Zach Nichols not being here. He might be close within that cutoff, but could have been a lot worse.
Could have been a lot worse, but as long as you could still be in the thick of it in some capacity, that's really all that matters here. That's Philip Groner here. This is just at the 10th spot, trying to get by Braxton Deweese. Using all the way down to the inside on that apron, which I usually don't recommend, but still doing that anyways. And through the bumps there in 1 and 2, but he will fall back in line. Going a little bit further up, Opplinger and Forbes, the last of that mid-top 5 battle that exists so far.
Still up for grabs, and that's a crucial point that the 55 can get, especially before the 73 of Jake Nichols gets there, because he's still within reach of those two. Things tend to go haywire between the 17 and the 55. I mean, we've already seen what Forbes Jr. will do to a playoff driver in Nate Stewart, albeit non-intentional, but still it could apply to the 55 of Opplinger.
Well, could indeed the case here, and you never know. These guys on old tires, any mistake can happen. I mean, I wouldn't expect, I dare you, don't even want to say the word caution flag, but you never know with racing this tight. You see the 11 and the 13 going at it. You've seen Opplinger and Forbes going at it. But we're not seeing, Hunters, we're not really showing signs of looseness here today. Maybe a little bit of a wiggle, but we're not seeing anybody dead sideways too much. So I don't really see a loss of control happening. I think if we are going to see a yellow flag, it'll actually be because of a wreck. But I just don't see that happening. I think this is just going to be one of those clean races. Our race recap, I think we only had 1 caution, so that's 1 caution in the Florida State Pro Builder Series over the course of 2 races. That is a pretty good stat.
Yeah, we usually don't get too many yellows here. That first one definitely kind of threw things in for a loop, and then lap 28 was our most recent yellow, and been clean and green since.
Exactly that here, so another good race in area, as they do tend to be. Of course, we'll be, as we've already alluded to, we'll take a week off. We'll be here next week, but we'll take a week off after that. Is that what it is, Hunter? We will go next week direct and then have a championship week off?
It'll be... So next week will be an off week, okay. And then 2 weeks' time will be an Auto Club, and then 3 weeks' time will be the season finale at Charlotte.
All right, so yeah, we'll take a week off. These guys can do their practice at Auto Club. Of course, rest in peace, Auto Club. Not a track that is ever going to exist again. Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be a short track if you think it is. Sorry to disappoint you. They just don't want to sell all the land at once. But obviously, we have that digitally preserved 2-mile D-shaped oval, which provides some great racing. About 7 lanes of racing you can use, so we'll see how these area guys can tackle that. But Sebastian Marin, already talked about him, but now he's just having fun. I think he's just rip riding for fun right now. Obviously up 4 seconds, he's not too worried about anything.
Indeed, just trying to make it to the finish of Sebastian Marin. 5 laps to go. 5 wins on the season for him. Looking for win number 6. We're putting 4th all time in the Pro Series winless column.
Breaking records left and right is that number 24. Of course, one of the upper echelon drivers, not even in the league, but in iRacing, nearly a 9,000 I rating, which, you know, some of the best that you see, they're right around 10,000. So he is obviously a super skilled driver, showing it here. Justin Bolton there, rated 6,500 for Scioli, 67 for Evans. Forbes is pushing 8,000. So these guys, very, very skilled drivers. As being dictated, these guys still can't sort out this position.
Yeah, it's still a intense battle. Top 5 on the line could be good for either guy. Could be really great for the 55, trying to get as many good points as he can. Every spot is a point. Every point matters, especially in the playoffs, as it might be a dead heat coming to the stripe. It's going to be 3 to go, but might see a photo finish for that 5th spot if things stay the way they are.
And I'll tell you,
Nate Stewart's actually gone back around in 73 of Jake Nichols.
Nichols struggling here, but to that point with the 17 and 55, I've said it before, I'll say it again. There's a big difference as a driver between finishing 6th and 5th. It's one thing to get a top 10. It's another thing to get a top 5. You get 2 check marks in the stat column. So if I'm that 55, you know, I'm a 55 car. I want a 5th place finish if it's going to be right in front of me. So we'll see if he can get it. But we are on 2 to go. Coming off corner number 2, about 2.25 miles of racing left. Florida State Builders Pro Series here, and Sebastian Marin looking for win number 6, looking for a free pass to the championship round, and not much more to cement it for him.
He'll come off turn 4. He'll see the white flag, and we will finish this one out one more time from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. As mentioned, he entered tonight tied for 4th in Pro Series wins with David Weishart, Travis Beckner, Jake Nichols, and Logan Clampett. And in just a few more turns, actually a couple more turns, he'll have 4th place on the wins list all to himself.
He'll have a record in the wins list, and he'll get 6 wins on the season, this one being the most pivotal, because now he could focus on taking that car to Concord, North Carolina, and go for a championship. Sebastian Marin gets his free pass to the championship round with the win here in Sin City. You call the photo finish to the line, and who got it? I believe it was
John
Forbes
Jr.
getting that 5th spot. You call the photo finish. We ended up getting it here as more and more drivers will cross the stripe and finish things out here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. But for the 6th time this season, got to give full marks to that number 24. His final lap led on the race number 124 out of 130. Sometimes we say it wasn't as easy as it looked. Dare I say today, it kind of looked as easy as the numbers dictate.
A little too easy for that 24, but that's going to be trouble for those in Charlotte. This is how good he is on a 1.5 miles. And looking through at our previous 1.5 miles, he won at Homestead, Miami. Didn't win at Chicagoland, but he's won at everything else in between. Mentioned it, 1.5 miles at Homestead, a 1 mile concrete oval or Magic Mile oval in New Hampshire, Rockingham, Darlington, Dover. I mean, he's really conquered it all. 6th win on the season. It's going to be interesting seeing how he handles Auto Club, try to prevent maybe another driver from possibly thwarting his shot at a title.
Exactly that. Maybe he can end the season on a 3-peat. That wouldn't be anything that would be out of the surprise of any of us to see. But let's head down and wrap things up with our post-race show. Give you the final rundown of results here today from the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Sebastian Marin, final margin of victory, 5 seconds over Justin Bolton, who did a masterful drive through the field there for the 2nd. Scioli gets the 3rd. Jonathan Evans in 4th. John Forbes gets that top 5 by a whisker over Justin Alfinger. Nate Stewart in 7th. Philip Groner in 8th. Braxton Deweese in 9th. And Jake Nichols falls all the way back to the 10th spot.
Wow. 11th is Jeff Wright, 12th John Furness, 13th Anna Sogak, 14th Jeremy Miller, and 15th Ed Robertson, with Fox, Falliker, Grant, Lakatos, and Berg rounding out the top 20.
And it's rounding out our field, just Ryan Nowicki 31st, or 21st rather. Ben Pierce 22nd, Brad Slaughter in 23rd. Then we have Bryce Senesac, Mike Venable, Mason Kane. Zach Nichols never even got to play here today. Was out of the race on lap 1 on that incident. Kemp, Weishart, and Francis Hamilton will conclude the field. The last really 5 drivers, well, 7 drivers, really never even got to play here today with how things shook out. But we'll head down to Victory Lane here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and we'll talk to Sebastian Marin. So, Sebastian, you get your free ticket to Charlotte. You can put all full focus on that car for the season finale. Dominating effort. You led all but 6 laps here, and we usually say it wasn't as easy as it looked, but I'll tell you from our perspective, you made it look really easy tonight, man.
Yeah, it was a great race, executed very well. Just started out front and kept the lead, and obviously with it going green, restarts were kind of not into play, which is huge, beneficial around here. I mean, it's so fast around here that the draft actually kind of matters. So a short run, if we got a yellow, that those last few laps battling would have been very, very intense. So very glad that it went green to the end there. But yeah, overall, very good race, very well executed, and looking forward to being in the Final Four.
Now, one thing that spiked our interest, Sebastian, was that at the end of the first stint, I think before the first pit stop, you had some challenge. Evans was there, Jake Nichols, he was there. You were battling for that lead. You were hanging on, but really, once that second set of tires went on, you found a new gear and just drove off. Was there a difference? Was there something you tweaked in the driver's seat? What kind of led to that?
It was a little bit of me tweaking and just understanding what to do with this track car combo with the conditions that were put to the test, because I knew the rear tires would give up at some point, but it was so cool that I was just trying to save in front of those guys, and I was surprised how fast they were going, and we got to like lap 15 and they were still really, really fast. So those last few laps, I started pushing, but they were so close, it kind of hurt my tires a little bit. So that second run, I just figured I'll just push flat out, stay as far ahead as possible, and I knew they would try and run me down, and I was hoping they would burn up their stuff, which did happen eventually, but it took so long since the track was so cool. You can keep so much throttle for a long time. And then once they did started to blow up, my tires were also kind of shot. I think Scioli was the only other car, maybe Bolton were the only other cars that I would say were quicker. And only at the last few laps of the run, I felt like I got the edge back. And then that second run, it was just cruising to try and match Scioli, since he went a lap after me. I was just looking solely at him because I felt like he was going to be my biggest challenger if it went green. So yeah, just a few challenges with the conditions that were met here, but it changed a few things and it all worked out.
Now, we're all worked out indeed. You can have some fun in 2 weeks' time, and his Race for Fun at Auto Club. Obviously not too much you could transfer to Charlotte, but I know you'll have that Charlotte car tuned up. You'll have the practice ready, and see if you can get yourself a Florida State Builders Championship in about 3 weeks' time, man. Congrats on the win tonight.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Have a good night, guys.
And now second place is Mr. Justin Bolton. Do we have him dialed up in the radio channels here, Mr. Hunter? Thought I saw him, but I guess not anymore. So we'll go right down and skip by that and head to third place, and you'll have a word with Mr. Scioli.
Coming through with a solid podium finish. I mean, your three-peat streak ends tonight, but nonetheless, you still have a top three streak at this track. Actually, yeah, you finished inside the top three in each of your 5 starts here, James. Take us through your thoughts on the night and how you were able to get the job done.
Yeah, I always really enjoyed racing here. Didn't know how it was going to be after the new refresh, but honestly, raced pretty similar. Just wish that it was a little bit hotter. We were on throttle quite a bit tonight, and would have been nice to have been able to have a little bit more tire wear, maybe a little bit easier movement through the field if you save. But all in all, pretty uneventful race for me, which is nice, especially after how Mondays went and where I'm sitting at points-wise there. So, yeah, honestly, just really happy to come in, collect really good points. Like you said, third place, no incidents, led a lap. So, stacked up a couple bonus points, and, yeah, wasn't involved in any wrecks or anything. And felt this was pretty much my pace. From what I could tell, the run before as well, like Seabass and Bolton were just a little bit better than me, and then I was really similar with Jonathan Evans. So, fun little battle there. Just not quite enough speed to go really challenge for the win.
Got speed regardless, as I'm looking through, and you're second in the standings, and you have a substantial amount to the cutoff. I believe it's 21 points above, I should say, before heading into Auto Club in 2 weeks' time. Take us through your thoughts on Auto Club and how we should bring it back, even though it's never going to come back.
Yeah, definitely love Auto Club. Always been super racy on the game, so hopefully it's another racy one. We have a good battle up front, can put on a good show for you guys. But yeah, definitely sad to see it go. Love how worn out, bumpy it is, how much tire wear there is. So definitely should be a good one. And if I can just have a nice worry-free race again, just don't get wrecked. Just play it safe, be easy around other people. I think that will be good to go and try and chase a 4th championship at Charlotte.
Got the job done tonight for a podium finish. We'll see him in 2 weeks' time from the last great 2 Mile Oval that doesn't exist anymore. Congrats, James.
Thanks, guys. Before you drop me, I want to say a big shout out to you guys for broadcasting these throughout the season. Thanks for taking time to put these on for us. We really appreciate it. Really appreciate you guys capturing these. Same to the admin team. You know, they put in a lot of time making sure that we're clean. Luckily tonight we shouldn't have made too much work for them. Shout out to 609 Motorsports. I know we had Philip and Jake in the top 10 as well. So solid team points tonight again. I think we're close to wrapping up the team title. So big shout out to everybody there. And then thanks to Simrat Market and Matt Liveries for being on the car. And hopefully we have a nice easy ride in Fontana. And we're talking to you guys again.
Absolutely, James. Congrats on the solid finish. And again, we'll be talking to you in a few weeks' time.
Thanks, guys.
Had me confused, Hunter. I thought you were going to call us in to go into Bristol in 2 weeks. I was really confused with the last great, but then you fixed it there. But our Victory interviews, of course, brought to you by Victory Fuel. Their caffeine-free flavors like Throttle Punch, Purple Potion, Lucky Lemon. Each can is packed with electrolytes charged with vitamins and kid-friendly. Get 10% off your order with code AREA iRacing at checkout. Our Victory Fuel post-race show. Sebastian Marin getting the free pass. Any final words before we wrap up tonight, Hunter?
Pretty cut and dry Las Vegas race. Kind of expected it. Did not expect the initial wreck to happen. That kind of threw a monkey wrench into everything. And yeah, looking at next week, it's going to be 2 weeks' time. The next race, it's going to be tough for Travis Beckner and Zach Nichols. Looking at both of them, Beckner is 35 points below the cut line, whereas Zach Nichols, he's not too far down as I would expect. Only 15 points below the cut line, so he can still point his way through. Opplinger, 8 points out. And then Nate Stewart, if he didn't get bumped from John Forbes Jr., what could have been, he still came through with a 7th, but he is 6 points outside the cutoff line. So it's still a tight battle with Jeff Wright, everyone else, and then Jake Nichols even only 17 to the good heading into Auto Club.
So you'll have to stay tuned for that. Make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe, both on YouTube, our Facebook, and if you're on Twitch, consider subscribing, getting your emotes, and you're earning your points for your free bird subscribing on the Area iRacing Twitch. We will be live on PTR TV on Sunday night with the Triple Bypass Racing League. Of course, we'll be off with Area. Stay tuned for Elbows Out Racing. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time as the Area iRacing season comes to a close. But that's going to be Corey and Hunter signing out of the booth. Have a great night, and we'll catch you next time.